Okay, looks like everybody's in. So, hi y'all. Thanks so much for joining us tonight. My name is Lindsay. I'm the first year graduate assistant for New Student Family Programs at Florida State. And we're super excited that y'all came to our meeting tonight to discuss diversity and inclusion and hear how that works at Florida State. We have different departments here. So the Center for Leadership and Social Change, the Center for Global Engagement, and SGA agencies. So they will be talking to you all shortly, and you can ask questions at a later point, but we're gonna go ahead and get started with a little background before we get started tonight, and I will share my screen. Okay. So first of all, we wanted to say welcome and congratulations. I know we tend to congratulate students a lot on their acceptance to college and getting here, but they didn't get here alone. It takes a lot to get into college, and we know that your family and everyone who is supporting your student has also got them here. So congratulations. We're glad that you have supported your student to this point and want to further support them, and just congrats on being a Knoll and being a part of the family. So a little bit more with that, Family Connection is a program through New Student Family Programs at Florida State, and it's really just a way to, like it says, connect families and students with the university. It can be really challenging for students to share everything that's going on with their new transition into college and sharing what's happening in their experience and what's going on at the university. So really, Family Connections is just a way to make sure that that all happens and everybody's on the same page. And you can do that by staying connected with Family Connection. So you can see there are different ways to stay connected. So Facebook is an option, Twitter, there's a blog, Instagram, all those good things. And we hope you stay connected that way. I'm gonna go ahead and stop sharing my screen. But a few more things before I pass it on to all of our presenters. We know you have a lot of questions probably, and we want to make sure all of those questions are answered. So if you have questions at any point, please send them in the chat box to either Kaylee, who is an orientation leader, and Maya, who is also a team leader on the orientation team, and they will make sure that we get those answered for you. You might notice that you don't have the ability to unmute yourselves, and we have that set just so we can get through the presentation. Sometimes Zoom can be a little bit tricky with the audio, and if we have other people like unmuting themselves, like it might interrupt the presentation. So we just have that setting in place. But if you do have any questions, and we really want you to submit your questions so we can get them answered for you, please send them to Kaylee or Maya at any point during the presentation, and we will get those answered for you. But I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Erin if you want to start introducing yourself.
Sure. Welcome, everyone. We are so excited for you to be here. As an FSU alumna, I am very, very much looking forward to the things that are in store for your students. And I'm glad that you've chosen to come to find out a little bit more to support them in that journey, because as Lindsay mentioned, it is definitely a family effort. It's a group and community space. And so those of us that are here today are super excited to share with you some of the many different pieces that we hope will help to enrich your students' experience and things that we believe will help prepare them for the world that they will enter upon graduation, which is the long-term end goal that I know we're all working towards. So I'm going to share my screen to share with you our presentation. Get a thumbs up that we can see that appropriately. Everybody's good. Thank you. Thank you. So as Lindsay mentioned, I am Dr. Erin Sylvester Philpott. I work in the Center for Leadership and Social Change, and we are one of 3 different offices and departments that are going to share things with you today. So we are going to take turns and kind of rotate through some slides. And so I'm going to turn it over to my colleague Kenya to get us started with the programs that you'll find specifically in the center.
Yes, as Erin said, I am Kenya. I work in the Center over Multicultural Student Programming. So that's a lot of our programming that serves to recognize and have programming that represents the diverse population that we have here at Florida State. I've been here about a year, and my pronouns are she, her, hers. And one of my favorite programs that we have so far that we'll probably hopefully talk about is Estanco, which is our welcome mixer. That's going to be our first program of the year in the center. And Erin, do you want to just give your pronouns and your role at the center as well?
Yep, thank you, thank you. So I use she, her, and hers pronouns. I am an assistant director in the center and get to work with some of our programs that involve leadership and identity-based programming for students. My favorite center program will always and forever be the Service Leadership Seminar. That is a great way for students to connect with serving their community while also understanding who they are as leaders. And it also serves as just a nice little bridge to help new students find their way at Florida State and find that first group of community and friendship. So that is my favorite program.
Yes. So we are the Center for Leadership and Social Change. Sometimes it's a mouthful, and so we always shorten it to the center. It's all of our t-shirts say the center, these pictures here. We offer more than 30 programs with leadership, identity development, and community engagement to honor, support, and develop a student's ability to create positive, sustainable change on campus and also beyond in their communities in the world. You can go ahead, Erin. So what do we do?
It's off. Oh, let me go back one. So sorry. So the work that we do in the center, a lot of times we hear from feedback from students that they believe we do all of the things and they're not quite sure if they're looking for a specific thing that it belongs in our space. And so this diagram here is something that we have found helps to describe our work. It is very fluid, and that is intentionally by design because our world is ever changing. And so we want to make sure that we are helping our students to find some basic programming, some basic understanding in these three main outer circles: leadership, where we are helping them to understand who they are as leaders. We train them on leadership theory and help them develop a capacity to be leaders in the world. Also community, where we take students out into community to engage in the Tallahassee area, or if they're joining us virtually this fall in whatever community space they call home. And for us, that looks like joining with community to do what in high school a student might have typically referred to as volunteering or community service. And then finally, identity. So in order for us to do either of those first two pieces, we believe that students have to know who they are and the social identities that they hold, because that is what matters when they show up in context or in spaces. So each of those three areas is kind of our home base, but the way that we do that work actually falls at the intersection of those circles. And so most of our programs fall in one of these orange, green, or purple spaces, and that we're helping students to develop their capacity to effectively create change. We're helping them figure out what it means to be a leader, what it means to hold the social identities that they hold, and how when those two things overlap or converge, they are beautifully equipped to change the world. In leadership and service, we want to make sure that they are learning about issues that our communities face, especially if those communities are not communities that they typically would come from or that they might call home. And so being sure to be mindful of who they are and how they show up in community matters to us. And then finally, we want our students to be prepared to create and contribute to inclusive places that are leading to a more just world. And so that is why in the center of everything that we do in the center is social change or some type of transformation or removal of the status quo. And so whether it is through leadership or service or identity work or the intersections of all of those things, that is the type of programming that we do in the center.
Right. And this year, obviously our programming may look a bit different, but I'm honestly super excited about it because we have the opportunity to merge a lot of programs together or do programs differently and add in elements to have a deeper impact than what we kind of previously had before. So this is going to be an exciting year. I'm really happy for all the students that do get connected with the center because, again, like Erin said, they're going to learn so much about themselves, other people. They're going to start making an impact on their community that they can reflect about and understand and speak about in job interviews, internships, other opportunities on campus. And they're going to see themselves as a leader, whether they're on an exec board or they're a general board member.
So if you or your student is interested in connecting with us, as the kids say these days in real life, we are located in this beautiful building that you see here, which is the Dunlap. I am sorry, that is my dog. The Dunlap Success Center. It is right in the hub or center of campus, and we hope that students will come and stop by. As soon as we return to an in-person space, we will have staff there to help kind of facilitate meeting them.
Yes.
Kenya, do you want to do the rest since my dog Bailey is trying to join our conversation?
Go ahead, mute yourself. Bailey never barks, so this is interesting that she's excited to meet you all. So yes, you can connect with us online. The very first QR code. So if you take out a smartphone and you open your camera app and you just, point the camera towards any of these QR codes. The first one is our Twitter. So we do have an amazing marketing team and marketing person that handles our Twitter page. We also have an Instagram, which is where I like to frequent the most. And then we also have a Facebook, and we do programming mostly in the Instagram and the Facebook, and you can always stay up to date with everything that's happening on the Twitter. Also, we do have a newsletter. So if you'd like to just become aware of all the programs that we have coming up, and not just programs, we also offer scholarships. We also offer, service trips post-COVID. We offer a lot than just programming. And so if you want to be on the newsletter to know more, I would just say send your email to Lindsay and we'll get you on the center's newsletter. But that's us, the Center for Leadership and Social Change, shortened to the beautiful center.
All right, thanks Erin and Kenya. So hi everyone, my name is Laura Dean. I am the Intercultural Programs Coordinator for the Center for Global Engagement. And Erin, you can pass on to the next slide, thank you. So we really envision and focus on international diversity, not only on FSU's campus, but worldwide. We host international students here, whether they're full-time or on an exchange of some kind. And we also send students abroad to study for a semester or a year. And then at the same time, we like to enhance internationalization efforts on campus through programming, certificates, connection, and engagement. So really, our goal is to create that welcoming, diverse environment within the world. It's a big, big world out there. Next slide, please, Erin. So just to get us started, to give you context of our international community currently as it stands on campus, we have over 130 countries represented. 2,500 different international students from all around the world. China, India, and South Korea are our most represented populations. And just in terms of the economic impact, over $1 billion in Florida alone are contributed by us receiving and supporting international students. So it's quite a significant population. And so the Center for Global Engagement, our goal for our domestic community and our domestic students is really to develop and enhance your global competence. And what that means is just increasing your international awareness and appreciation of cultural diversity beyond the scope of the US, and really being mindful of and developing a skill set and knowledge that you can apply not only to your college career, but beyond in the workforce. So it's something incredibly accessible and successful, something that everyone should be mindful of and developing no matter where they are in the world. And so that's really the goal of our programs and services. And on the next slide, you'll see that all of, the importance of global competence ranges from economic to just American society becoming so much more diverse. And also global challenges like the current pandemic. We need strong international ties with our fellow world citizens to be able to solve these issues. And so not only does it enhance your academic achievement, but it also makes you far, far more successful in your work environment as well. So with that, we have a few programs and services that we offer that I just wanted to introduce in this space, but it's by no means limiting to what the Center for Global Engagement offers. The first is our Global Exchange Program. We offer over 45 different international abroad, study abroad or exchange abroad opportunities. So there are different universities. Basically, your student could go abroad as an international student and study in a local university with local students and other exchange students from other parts of the world. You can do this for the semester, you could do it for the summer, you could do it for the fall. Granted, right now it's on a little bit of a hiatus because, again, of the pandemic, but it's something that still takes time to think about in relationship to the rest of your academic career and what you need to accomplish in the 4 years or however long you're at FSU. So it's something that we really like new students to consider for, later on in their academic career. And then it also you can pay FSU tuition. All of your FSU scholarships are reimbursed as they would be as if you were at FSU. And many of the programs are offered in English, even if you're not in an English-speaking country, or if you're a language-specific major. We also offer the Global Citizenship Certificate, which is an academically robust, transcript-recognized certificate. It takes about a year to complete. Students often substitute it for a minor, and it really gets at developing those global competency skills and becoming a global citizen. So there are a few courses that are offered through our teaching faculty directly, and then there are a few elective courses that students can take depending on their major. So it's really flexible to the student's major and interest. And is something that, again, when you graduate, it'll be recognized on your transcript, which is something that we all recognize as valuable for following your time at FSU. And then, of course, we have, beyond that, intercultural programs that we offer to our international, domestic faculty, staff, students, everyone, just to gather together and connect. My favorite one is our International Coffee Hour, which is held every Friday. Even through hurricanes and crazy pandemics, we still found a way to make it virtual. It's every Friday from 5 to 6:30, and it's an opportunity to learn about a different country and culture, whether it's through an international student or multicultural student organization, learn about different cuisines through cooking demonstration, and then an opportunity to connect in conversation. And that's just one example of the many different programs that we offer to really bridge that gap between the US and the rest of the world. And so if you want to connect with us, please do. We also offer a newsletter that goes out every week with all of the different programs, services, deadlines, scholarships that we offer on our end. If you want to learn more about the Citizenship Certificate, global exchanges, you can find it all on our website at cge.fsu.edu. We also have Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at FSU CGE. And then my information's at the top right corner. If you want to email me directly, I'd be happy to answer any other questions that you have. And now I'd love to pass it on to Mr. Deshaun Scott.
Hello, everyone. My name is Deshaun Scott. I work as Program Coordinator of Student Governance and Advocacy. So I have Senate as well as our agencies, which are identity-based organizations. Before I dig deep into the presentation, we focus on giving students an opportunity to voice their opinions and advocate for others. We give students a sense of belonging here on campus and different learning opportunities. So we go to the next slide. So just like our country's government, our SGA is divided into 3 branches: the executive branch, the legislative branch, and judicial branch. Click on the next slide. Our executive branch has our president, vice president, and treasurer. So our president is Jonathan Levin. And then our student body vice president is Natasha. She goes by Tazzy Yambir. And our student body treasurer is Christian Hall. Next. So we have our legislative branch, which consists of our student senate. So we have about 80 students representing their college or division. They meet every Wednesday night at 7:30. All the way into midnight, depending on the issues that's going on within the campus community or the world or country. Being part of Senate, you have an opportunity to write legislation, draft resolutions, and fund different campus organizations. This is a great learning opportunity for many of our students because they get to interact with our legislators here because Tallahassee is the capital. So we have the capital literally 10 minutes walking distance from FSU. So they get to interact on different bases with them and advocate on different things that they're passionate about as well. So you get to work in groups, you get to practice public speaking and governance and representation. So you can see different people that you may not see in everyday life. Next part is advocate. So we think it's very important for students to learn how to advocate for themselves and their campus community. Next. We have 6 agencies. So agencies are identity-based organizations. So there are Asian American Student Union, Black Student Union, Hispanic Latinx Student Union, Pride Student Union, Veteran Student Union, and Women's Student Union. So the agencies are a part of SGA, and they receive funding to host different events on campus. Next. Different events that we have on campus. Get involved with the agencies by attending a general body meeting. So every agency is mandatory for them to host a general body meeting. This is for you to meet other students like you and hear from different faculty and staff members and learn more about what is it like to being part of the Hispanic Latinx community, or being Black student on campus, or being part of the LGBTQ plus community. So you get to learn all those different aspects, and you can be part of more than one agency because the intersectionality, this is something that you'll learn when you get here on campus about it. Being part of the agency, you can help plan signature events. So we have Hispanic Heritage Month, which is the first big event on campus between September 15th to all the way to October 15th. And then we have Veterans Appreciation Month in November, Black History Month in February, and the Asian American Women History Month, sorry about that, in March and April. You can explore different cultures and identities and tradition and learn what does every agency value and how does their value aligns with the institution and our world. And then the next part is funding. You go to the next funding. So next one. So your activity service fees, which is about $12.86 per credit hour, is equivalent to $13.7 million. So this activity service fee allow you to participate in 1,000 activities and events and programs. You have access to go to the gym that we have here on campus. Everything that we have here on campus is pretty much free if it contains the activity and service fee. And we have a movie theater on campus at the ASCU Student Life Center that you can go in there and see different movies. And they always have free movie screenings, so you can see movies before they even come out in theater, which is a great opportunity that we have here on campus. Next one is Engage. With this one, we have our Diversity and Inclusion Institute. They typically happen in the spring semester every school year. So the purpose of Diversity and Inclusion Institute is you get to learn what does diversity and inclusion mean to yourself and the campus community. A lot of time people think about diversity and inclusion, they think about race. And diversity and inclusion is so much more than that. It deals with ethnicity, religion, social economic status, as well as socioeconomic status, and your gender. So all of that encompasses into Diversity and Inclusion Institute. It's a free program. It lasts between 6 to 8 weeks in the spring semester, and you get a certificate at the end of that. And thank you for attending our presentation. These are different ways you get involved. So we have Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. So you can always feel free to go in there and keep updated things that's happening on campus. And we're located on the 4th floor of Thagard. So if you're part of CARE, which is also known as Center for Academic Retention and Enhancement, we're on the 4th floor above CARE. Right now, our union's being redone, and it's supposed to be done by fall 2021.
All right, thank y'all so much for that presentation. Again, if you have any questions, please send them to Kaylee or Maya in the chat, and they will get them to us and we will get them answered for you. We have a few questions I'm gonna go ahead and ask to our presenters. So first question is for Laura, and it is, what are some global or international opportunities for people with a biology or pre-vet major?
A great question. I myself am not the global exchange coordinator, but I know of a fact that there are programs offered in the hard sciences. So really, if you visit global.fsu.edu, you'll be able to see all of the locations that are offered according to the biological / I forgot what the rest of it was, but in the science field. So we do, it's university-wide, you can go on a global exchange, or major specific. So it really doesn't matter. There's a lot of flexibility in that. And so it's a great question, because I think that many students don't necessarily know that they can study abroad on a particular major.
Thank you. Next question is for Deshawn, and it is, are all the agency events open to all students?
Yes, all of the agency events are opened up to all students because you pay the activity service fee. So being part, having the agencies being part of the activity service fee and SGA, it allows you to participate in a lot of events that we have here on campus. So feel free to show up.
Next question is also for Deshawn. If my student is a first-year student, what's the best way for them to get involved with an agency?
So the great part about it is you all, even though we're now on campus at this moment, you all are already a part of agencies and the SGA because the activity service fee that buys your membership to be a part of it. So with that included, you're able to walk into any meeting because all our meetings are open to all the students. So you can go to any agency meeting or Senate meetings on Wednesdays. Every agencies, if you go onto our website, you can find more about the different agencies that we have and their social media aspects. And that's the best way to keep up to date with everything that's going on. So, yeah.
Next question is for Laura again. How does my student decide to participate in the Global Certificate as a minor?
Yeah, so it's not recognized as a minor. It's just a good substitute for a minor, but you can go ahead and what I'll do is I'll drop in the chat the links to these different to the certificate as well as the Global Exchange website so that you can visit those. But the advisors to the certificate are very responsive and available at any time. They do Zoom advising as well as info sessions, and it's very easy to enroll. All you just have to do is declare that you would like to enroll and they will enroll you, and then the whole process gets started where you can actually start enrolling in the Global Perspectives class, which is the intro class, and then attending events and all of the requirements of the certificate. So it's very simple and easy, and I'll just go ahead and drop that in the chat for you.
Thank you. Next question is for Erin and Kenya. How does my student gain community service hours and submit those hours?
It's a great question. So the center also holds FSU's service transcript. So FSU as a university values a student service to the community at such a high esteem that we put it on their transcripts so that when they are applying for graduate programs or when they're sending their transcripts to job offers or whatever comes next for them, that they're able to say, not only did I have this academic coursework and that matters, but the way that I showed up in my community matters just as much. So we have the Serve Script program. It's all one word, serve without the E, because we're trendy like that. Serve Script. And every student logs their own service hours through their MyFSU portal. They just have to log them within a semester's window. So a student can log hours 365 days a year. It just has some end dates where we will cap to say, okay, that's the end of the fall. Now that's the end of the spring. Now that's the end of the summer. And then we do review some of those service hours just because if it's showing up on a student's transcript, we feel like we need to give a good checks and balance to that. But we will reach out to students if we have any questions. They'll know if they have been selected as part of an audit. As far as finding ways to do service, getting involved with the center or getting involved with any student organization that is service-based in nature is their kind of area of interest is the best way to start. The Center for Leadership and Social Change has a number of different service programs that we are still running virtually. And so we work with a lot of nonprofit agencies in the city of Tallahassee. We work with our Leon County school systems. We have a lot of connections and relationships where we can connect students who are interested in a particular type of service with a nonprofit or an agency that has a specific need for that type of service. And then we are happy to connect them if they are looking for something beyond our list. We have students plugged in a number of different areas and assets across the community.
Thank you. Next question is for all of you, all presenters. How can my student learn more about diversity and inclusion at FSU?
Well, I'll just start with what we offer here in the Center for Leadership and Social Change. So I think a great first spot is being a part of the SG&A agencies, but with us, we have programming, we have our diversity and we have, so hold on, let me frame that. We have Social Justice LLC. So that's for first year students. Currently, I think right now we're closed, but that is a residential on campus community where they have to take a class together and they live together for the whole year and they're learning social justice concepts. We also, we used to be partnered with the leadership courses. What is it called, Erin? I've already forgotten.
Leadership Learning Research Center.
The Leadership Learning Resource Center, which offers all of our leadership courses on campus, and some of those courses encompass social justice as well. We also have our social change peer educators, which are students who then train and educate other students on campus by demand and appointment to learn more. And then one of my programs is the Multicultural Leadership Summit, MLS, as it is affectionately called. It's usually always happens the weekend after MLK Day. And it's a 2-day conference and summit where students do presentations on an array of topics around diversity, multiculturalism, and social justice. And I think that is the absolute best way to kind of get engrossed in diversity and social justice as a first year. And then there's so many more, but our website is thecenter.fsu.edu, and we have all our programming kind of split up by tabs, and you'll see like diversity and recognition programs. We also have the Latinx Cultural Celebration, which will be in September as well. That's coming up. So pretty much come to our programs, be involved in all of our other programs, like our leadership and our community engagement programs as well, because we talk all about that. And then I'll hand it off to Deshawn to talk about the diversity and inclusion certificate.
Yeah, so here at FSU, it's a community-wide effort with diversity and inclusion. So not only our department is working on it, the entire campus at FSU and Tallahassee community, we're trying to work together on diversity and inclusion. So that's one thing to keep in mind is with the faculty, staff, and students. It's a 360 approach that we've been trying to work on. So we have our Allies and Safe Zone programs. So it's a program that teaches students, faculty, and staff of how can they support students, the LGBTQ plus community, and how can they be an ally and further their knowledge with it, because there's so many things that's going on in our society with that. We also have the agencies that I mentioned earlier that you could be a part of, so you can learn more about that. And then we have our diversity inclusion certificate program, which is in the spring, that you can be a part of as well. And then our last one is we have registered student organizations that they're identity based. And then one question that been popping up is, do we have organizations that, regardless of what you may believe, conservative, liberals, Democrat, Republicans, we do have that. And that's one thing that we're trying to work on is how can we have thoughtful conversation between people that may not agree with each other. So through dialogue and bringing people in, just like you can have a conversation and express yourself. And then we'll figure out how can we combine the two together to continue on the work with diversity and inclusion.
Yeah, in terms of the Center for Global Engagement, very much the basis of the certificate is to provide that perspective of what it means to be in an ever increasingly small world and why it's important to learn about differences and similarities among cultures, and how that can help you become so much more aware, accepting, and understanding of others that come from different contexts, whether it's cultural or otherwise. And so not only that, but putting yourself in a circumstance where you do feel othered or different. So going on a global exchange, you very much feel that isolation at times, or just that experience of what it means to travel to a completely different context to yours, learning to adapt. All of those skills really help you to understand the need for diversity and inclusion and why it's so vital and important on campus and the US, in Tallahassee, wherever, right? And yeah, so I think that those opportunities are just a few at CGE.
I would add and echo Deshawn's point that Florida State has a very long history of student activism and student awareness and involvement in our world. And that is a history that we are very proud of, that we believe that we are helping to prepare students for what is next, what happens after college. And so I think encouraging your student to show up where it makes sense for them. And so realizing that diversity and inclusion work, social justice work, preparing for the world as it is changing every day it matters what your student is comfortable with in this moment, and encouraging them to be open to the next moment, right? So for some students, they need to show up in coursework, they need to learn more, and they need to come to some of our workshops and programs, and that works. Other students could be leading our programs for us. And so we are ready to help carry them to whatever is next for them. And so many of our students, we often have to encourage them to take a moment for that self-care piece, to pause, to rejuvenate and restore themselves. But there are so many different levels, because everyone in the university is working in the same direction together, that there are so many different places where students can show up based on what matters most to them, where they're at, and they can always choose to take a step forward or backwards. And that is something that we fully encourage.
Thank y'all. Next question is for Laura, and it is, can you share a little bit about the cost associated with international programs?
Yeah, so for global exchanges, again, what's so great about it is that you're paying FSU tuition at a local university in another country. So the only costs associated are those with room and board, and the differences that you would experience, they could be even potentially cheaper than Tallahassee, depending on where you are, or more expensive. It just, again, varies. And then, of course, travel expenses. But beyond that, it's really quite comparable to your FSU tuition, what you're paying for your experience at FSU. So that's why we really like to encourage as many students as possible to consider the option. We know it's hard to sometimes uproot yourself for a semester or a year because you're so entrenched in everything you're doing on campus, but at the same time, the value, even just the financial value and what you get out of it, is amazing, right? So yeah, that answers your question.
Thank you. Next question will be for Erin and Kenya, and it is, what is Estanco and will it be held this year?
That is such a great question. So Estanco is a welcome mixer for first year and returning students. It means welcome in Seminole Creek tribe language. And so it is a program in which we honor the Seminole tribe of Florida, as well as give words of wisdom for students in this upcoming academic year. Typically, we do host it outside, right in the middle of Askew, which holds our theater, as well as the Center for Global Engagement, and Dunlap, where the center is held. And so we usually hold it there. This year, we will be holding Estanco. It will be virtual, and we are figuring out the best ways to have one really great impact to celebrate, our students, one, their resilience through this past semester, as well as the excitement for the new year, and 3, to educate all of our students, whether they've been here before at Florida State or they're just coming in, about our, the Seminole tribe of Florida and how we honor them and how our relationship with them changed over time with FSU, but ultimately a really great relationship that we have. So I'm really excited for it, and we'll get more information in our newsletter and on our social media.
Thank you. Next question is for all of you, and it is, what is one opportunity from each of your areas that you feel like students have to participate in? So what's a must do?
That's so hard. I don't want to limit it. I guess as just sort of an introduction to the Center for Global Engagement, sort of the easiest way to transition into connecting with us, connecting with international students or international community, as well as other members of our FSU community, would be through participating in our International Coffee Hour. Because it is such a simple space that we offer virtually, and when we're in person, we do have free desserts, tea, and coffee from around the world. Hopefully one day we'll get back to that. But that, again, is just a great opportunity for your students to have the opportunity to connect and engage in conversation. And that's when you start to really think about and realize the value that you gain from programs like that, and from certificates and global exchanges, and whether that's through us or through the center or SG&A. So I will definitely send the link to register for the event if you and your students would like to attend.
I can share, and you'll notice that there are two of us from the Center for Leadership and Social Change because it's very big and there are many different areas that we do programming in. So my personal area that I would recommend is for you to encourage your student to take a leadership course. So the leadership classes are LDR prefixes. They satisfy a number of different electives, X, Y's, writing, depending on what they do. As Kenya mentioned briefly before, there's a number of our LDR courses that are about intersectionality. So what does it mean to be a Latinx leader? What does it mean to be a Black male leader? What does it mean to be a woman leader? And so we have some very special interest-based courses. And a lot of those courses also require service because at Florida State, we believe that if you are going to lead, you must be willing to serve. And so to me, I believe that that's you get so many boxes checked from that coursework. And that is something that any future employer is going to be like, you did a what? Okay, let's start talking about this. And so I think that that is a great way for students to pour into themselves and learn some of the things that they might have never envisioned as being possible for their future.
Yeah, for my area, specifically, I said it before, Multicultural Leadership Summit. We do it every year. You can go every year. You can go as a participant. You can go as a presenter on any topic that you'd want, or you could help plan MLS and get large-scale event planning experience by being a student facilitator for MLS. And then you could go as far as becoming to work at the center and then plan MLS again. So yes, just go every year. I know a lot of students who kind of wait until their junior or their senior year. And even if you go for one day, you go for one session, you should go. Of course, it is free to all FSU students. You do get a free t-shirt. You can get a center t-shirt. There's food. They're on both days, like good meals. But ultimately, it's going to give you kind of the best introduction, intermediate, and expert experience in multicultural and diversity work.
Okay, next question will be for any of you, if whoever wants to answer. If my student experiences some type of bias, who should they tell and what happens?
Sean, you want that one or you want me to take it?
Oh, I mean, you can fill in the gaps that I don't say. If I miss anything. Well, a lot of us, or everyone on campus, is mandated reporter. So if you come talk to us, if you experience things, we will have to report at Dean of Students Office. The name changed. I can't think of the name at the top of my head, but the website is report.fsu.edu. Oh, yep, someone shared it in the chat. So we're all here to help you navigate things as you're going on campus, if you're dealing with things. But I tell students, we're here if you need us, because things may happen on campus and we don't want you to experience certain things alone. So we are here. We do have help and support with the things that you're going through, and we'll try our best. Another thing is we don't share information. So if you tell me something that you're dealing with, I'm not going to share it with other students. I might have to share it with my colleagues that's involved with the process so they can help out as well. And anything I missed, Erin?
Yeah, I would just encourage the more that you as a family and member and parent can encourage your student to report. Every report that's received is fully investigated. We have people that are trained in that to make sure that one, your student, if they were to unfortunately experience something negative, that they are given every benefit and support system that we possibly can. But two, that our community is only as safe as our community allows it to be. And so in order to ensure that we have safety and respect and civility on our campus, every single one of us plays a role in that. Every single student can help contribute to that. And so whether it is something that your student feels the need to report directly, that they would like to maybe tell a staff member that we can report, they do accept anonymous reports, although those are understandably more difficult for us to move forward along the process if we don't know who and we don't know where and we don't know what. And so the more that you can encourage and support your student to come and talk to somebody they feel comfortable speaking and sharing with, we will absolutely take it and handle it fully, because every single one of us that receives a paycheck is a mandated reporter that is not a counselor or a medical doctor. And something that we take very seriously, that we all hold a role and play a role in helping make sure that our campus is safe and inclusive and supportive and civil.
Thank you both. Next question is for Deshawn, and it is, what are some of the type of events that agencies host?
Ooh. All our agencies, when it's time for them for their month, their cultural celebration, they have for HHM, it is Hispanic Heritage Month opening and closing event. And then we have our Martin Luther King that we help out with the center. The center help us out with Martin Luther King week. So we have those things. And then we have our Pride March. So the students that's involved with the Pride Student Union, they'll march from FSU all the way to the Capitol to raise awareness about LGBTQ plus issues that's going on campus. We also have our SGA Welcome Back Mixer. Most likely, it's going to be virtually, so that's get to learn from how to be a part of SGA and get to meet with other senators on campus and meet the president, vice president, and treasurer. So those are some of the things that we have. We have our Torchbearers celebration. Torchbearers, we're bringing in different speakers. We have had Bill Nye, the science guy, come there before. So we bring all different types of speakers as well. And then another thing is if you're part of a registered student organization, you can receive funds through our two funding boards, PAC and RTAG. So those things you can help your organization have your own events on campus. The only thing is if you request funds from PAC and RTAG, your events have to be free and open to the student body.
Thank you, Deshawn. Just a reminder, we have a few more minutes left, so if you have any questions, please submit them to either Kaylee or Maya, and we will try to get those answered for you. But next question will be for Erin and Kenya, and it is, what is cultural graduation and who can participate?
Yes. So the Athakichita cultural graduation, it's another Seminole Creek word, Athakichita. It means to honor because it is a rite of passage. And so cultural graduation is one of the most beloved programs on campus, especially for all of our students, especially those students who are involved on campus. And essentially what happens is it's a separate graduation from the university commencement. It usually happens, well, it always happens the Thursday night, the last Thursday night of the semester, fall semester and spring semester. And we have students who submit all of their involvement. They get their own kind of like PowerPoint slide essentially. And we ask them that they invite their family to come and cheer them on because it's way more intimate because it's in our ballrooms in the union. We can only really have about 300 students, unfortunately. But those 300 students, they have hopefully maximum 4 people from their family come there, support them, but not only that, they get stoled with a special cultural graduation stole, and they can choose a loved one to stole them on stage. And it's just so heartwarming. And we, honor our family members who have supported our students. We honor the students for graduating, which is an amazing accomplishment. And there's food, of course. It's great. That's Athakichita cultural graduation, which happens in the fall and the spring.
Thank you. So we have another question for all of you, and it is, how are new students finding out about all these events that will happen in the fall?
I think that's what we're all worried about right now, is making sure that new students know about us and connect with us. For CGE, we post in our newsletter, on all of our social media platforms, in any way we can get it out there. If you have suggestions of how we can connect with your students even better, that would be great. But yeah, honestly, we just use those sites and our website as well. And it's always updated. There's always new information. So I would highly, highly encourage your students to follow us on all these different social media platforms, since I know that that's how they typically connect, because that will always be the way that they can keep updated with every single event and goings on for CGE and otherwise.
I just posted 2 things that you can keep up. You can go on calendar.fsu.edu and you look on those things, that website, to see what events are happening on campus. We try to keep it up to date, but this is a collaborative effort. So we may not have every little thing that's going on the campus community. Then we also have Know Central. Know Central is where you can sign in to be part of any organization on campus, and through there they post things about the things that they're having, events that they're having on campus, and then social media platforms too. So those are the three major ones.
In addition to social media, I think that's the best way for students to find out about stuff, especially as things change and they're live and it's updated and they can see who else is going, that kind of stuff. But almost every one of our departments has some kind of listserv that students can subscribe to. They don't go out as frequently as the social media posts because that would just be out of control. But they at least will go out weekly or bi-weekly, where we try to have a list of, here are the upcoming big things, mark your calendar, save the date, or here's applications for programs, scholarships, opportunities. And so that is another great way, in addition to the social media outlets. But social media is by far the best way. That is where we know students are. And so that's where we're going to try to put stuff out.
Thank you. Deshawn, I think you were talking about this a little bit before, but we have a question. Are there any groups that are specifically for conservative students and conservative identities?
Yes, so we have our Republican Student Association here on campus that you can be a part of. And then you can be part of SGA. SGA, anybody can be a part of it with their viewpoints. We have people that are Democrats, that are Republicans, liberals, conservatives. We try to embrace all of that within SGA. But I tell people that we try to work with the mission and values of FSU when dealing with policies that's going on campus. So with me being a staff member, we cannot, I don't persuade students go one way or another. All I do is education, talk about the facts that's going on with society. So those are things, because I've been getting side comments in the chat about this topic as well. But yeah, we do have student organizations for conservative students.
Thank you.
There's also within the Knoll Central group, and so like Maya's point in the chat is a great one, that students can go in and fill out that initial getting started quiz, and that they can select things that they're interested in. And some of them are activities they might be interested in. Some of them are things like free food is something that I'm interested in. And some of them are also values-based statements. And so they can say, I'm looking for a faith-based home, and here's my faith belief. Or I'm looking for a place that matches my values, and here's how I would describe those values. And that will automatically generate for them stuff in Knoll Central, where they will see the student organizations that specifically align with those values, to make it a little bit easier for them to digest the large number of student orgs that we have.
Actually, Deshawn, can you talk about the groups that are also like a part of the agencies, but not a part of the agencies? I can't remember the name right now. The organizations.
Bureaus?
No, maybe that's what they're called. But you know how there's organizations that like partner with agencies.
Yes, affiliates. So every agency have affiliate. Affiliates may have the same identity as the agency. So with a Hispanic Latinx, they may have BRASA, which is a Brazilian student association as well. And then we also have the Afro Latinx Student Association called ASA, which is kind of the intersections between Black Student Union and Hispanic Latinx Student Union. So we have those things as well. But yeah, affiliates are other ways you get involved. And all our website, our agency website, they list their affiliates on there as well. With the Veteran Student Union, they have their affiliates with the CVA, Collegiate Veterans Association. So those are different avenues that you can be a part of it. So if you don't want to be part of the entire organization, affiliates, a lot of our affiliates are smaller, personalized student organizations that you'd be a part of.
Thank you, Deshawn. And we have time for one more question, and it's for any of the four of you. But if a student has different abilities, who would they need to contact, or how can they get involved?
Our Office of Accessibility Services is located kind of in the hub of campus. They also have a full list of online contacts. And so if a student has specific accommodations they've already been approved for, they need to register with the Office of Accessibility Services. That is then something that the Office of Accessibility Services helps those students to share with departments in different involvement areas, so that we can make sure that we know exactly how we can adjust our programs to be able to be accessed by all students. We have a number of different things that we do in most of all of our programs to make sure that we are sharing things in an accessible manner, in an inclusive manner, and ways where we invite and through a welcoming space students to let us know what they need. And so whether that is through just ways that we can have a universally designed program that is easier for everyone to access and feel included in, or ways that we can be strategic in the different offerings that we do. But the Office of Accessibility Services is the first place that students have to go. And then we hope that if they're comfortable, they will share with us the things that they need in order to be able to navigate our programs as more comfortably and fully as possible, especially if it means letting us know when we don't get it right, letting us know when we do something and we miss the mark and we need to do something better. It is some of my favorite feedback to receive from students when they say, that was great and I needed this differently, because I'll never make the same mistake twice.
Thank you for that, Erin. So that was our last question. I'm going to do a few things to wrap up. But first, the biggest thank you to Erin, Kenya, Deshawn, and Laura for sharing all that information and answering questions. Super helpful, super informative. So thank you for that. Thank you for submitting questions tonight also. I'm going to share my screen one last time. Okay, so just a few things to wrap us up. So we do have at least 4 more family webinar series for the rest of the summer. So these are all the dates and the topics that will be covered on those nights. Same link, same time. So if you're interested in any of those, we encourage you to come back, have your questions answered, and it should be really helpful. We also really encourage you to stay connected with New Student and Family programs. So there in the middle are Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, email if you have any questions. Super engaged on Instagram. Those templates on the side are Instagram stories, and they're super fun to new students and getting them connected with other students and orientation leaders. So highly encourage you to stay connected online. And then last but not least, we have virtual FSU, and it's really a great opportunity for students to get support and stay connected during virtual times right now, because we all know that navigating online is not the easiest thing. So virtual FSU is there for you and your students to stay connected and receive that support, because even if we're all online, we're still here to help your student and you get through this transition in the easiest way we can. So that is that. And that is all we have for you tonight. So thank you so much for attending, and we will see you soon.
Thanks so much, everyone.
Bye, thank y'all.
Thank you. Connect with the center on all our social media.